So in this video, I'm just going to finish up segments and angles. We're going to go over how we measure angles. In this video, I'm going to finish up a little bit of angles. I'm going to go over how we measure angles. So there is one protractor problem in your Math Excel, and we really won't get to work with protractors just because we don't all have them. But a protractor is the way that we would measure an angle to determine how big the angle is. So the way we notate this, if you look at the box down here, and you don't have to sketch this, just sort of follow along as I'm working through this one. So what this says is they want the measure of angle KLN. So that's what this notation means. It means measure of angle KLN. So the protractor will allow us to find the measure of this angle. So what we would do is we would take our protractor and we would set it on top of our vertex. So in KLN, the L is the vertex. So L, so I'll put my protractor, the center of my protractor, right on the L. And then here's my angle that I'm looking at is KLN is right here. So the way that they have this set up is we're going to use the top numbers because we got to start small and get large. So we're going to start at 0 and we're going to go all the way up. So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So this is 90. So I know the measure of KLN is 90 degrees. So we're not using the bottom numbers of this protractor because the way I have this set up is I'm using this part. So I'm using the ray LN. And LN, so this is my starting point of my angle. So when your starting point needs to be at 0. So here's 0. So I have to use the top numbers because that makes my starting point at 0. If I was on this other ray on the other side, then I would use the bottom numbers. So let's look. So this angle, this KLN is 90 degrees. What about the next angle? What about angle, the measure of angle MLN? So here's MLN. So that's, I'm referring to this angle right here. So how big is that? So we'll start at 0, and it looks like 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, about 60 degrees. So it's 60 degrees. And then the last part, what is the measure of angle KLM? So KLM. So we want this measure for the last part. So the way, we can't move this protractor, but there is a mathematical way that we could find it because we know this is a right angle. It's 90 degrees. So the whole angle is a 90-degree angle. And we know this little piece here is 60. So what we can do to find KLM is we could take 90, because we know this is the whole angle, and we could subtract 60 from it. So the measure of angle KLM would be 30, because 30 and 60 is 90. So here's an example, another example. I didn't put the protractor in this one. I just wrote the angle measures for you in the problem. So the measure of angle XYZ. So I know the measure of this angle, whatever this happens to be, is 30 degrees. And I know the measure of this angle is 90 degrees. So I know those two small angles. And then, so the total angle that I'm looking for X, Y, Z. I'm looking for the measure of that angle. Well, that's all of angle 90. So all of this first angle, so the green angle, plus that red angle. So I'm going to say this is going to be 90 plus 30. So this is 120 degrees. Find the measure of angle X in the picture. So they show you in the picture, this is similar to one in your Math Excel. They show you that the whole angle is 77. So you know it's 77. This little piece is 51. So if I want to find how much x is, I'm just going to subtract off 51 from 77. So this is 26 degrees. So this little angle is 26 degrees. And we can always double check. If I add 51 and 26, I get 77. So in this next example, it says, this is similar to a problem in MathXL. It says using a protractor, measure two angles, angle P and angle Q. The measure of angle P, so measure of angle P is 47, and the measure of angle Q is 77. They want to know, are they congruent? You do not need a protractor to do this. All you're going to do is you're just going to compare the two angles. So if they're the same, they're congruent. If they're not the same, they're not congruent. So I'm just going to look. 47 and 77, not the same. So these are not congruent. So we would say, no, these are not congruent because they are different measures. So you do not actually need a protractor to do this problem. You can just compare the two angles that they listed there for you. So these are not congruent because they are not the same measure. So you should be able to go ahead and work on the MathXL assignment.